Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk. Okay, there we go. We got
Okay,
it.
we got it this time.
We got it this time. I don't know what I was thinking. I just didn't work out in my brain. Did not.
It feels so weird because it's still very sunny here.
It is.
It's like 6:40, so it's not. We're usually doing this way later, so it feels weird, but
We can see if I'll yawn during this episode.
hopefully not.
Well, I already just yawned like 2 minutes ago, so.
Well, I feel like you haven't been doing it as much lately.
Yeah, normally I would ask Ryan how he's doing, but we're just gonna go right into the lovely email that I received this week.
Lovely?
Lovely.
That's how you would describe it?
Actually, we got 2 of them from the same person. I think that,
They wanted to make sure that it was directed at you specifically because they left your name off the first one.
Right, specifically. It says, Becca, it is amazing to me. You are so unprofessional. So much F-bombing, and you actually audibly yawn during every episode. If you are bored and distracted by picking up your digs shit in the middle of if a show, then shut up.
We assumed that was dog's shit, but
in
also
the middle of a show.
You also don't pick up your cat's shit. Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I talked about that on an episode.
But you were doing it during the episode?
Potentially. I don't know. Why would I be walking around picking up Lloyd's shit on an episode?
You wouldn't, I don't think. Maybe the dig is supposed to be a different word.
Maybe it's supposed to be digs.
Digs? What does that mean?
Here's the thing, guys. If you're going to send us really bad emails, could you proofread them? Because I am sick and tired of trying to decode this hate mail. Like,
it was sent twice, so it was corrected in a sense, but it wasn't. Maybe I just don't understand it.
No, digs was never corrected in the second email.
Well, right. Was there a subject line in there, by the way?
No, it was a no subject.
Oh, the no subject.
Anyway, I will then we will work on my response.
Work on it. You already responded.
I already responded, but I just want everybody to know that my favorite thing about Ryan is that one of my favorite things about Ryan is that he lets me respond to trolls that are directed towards me in the way that I want to respond to them.
She does ask for approval of, like, is this okay?
I do.
And then I'm like, go for it. But yeah. I do appreciate you showing me because, you know, it is coming from our email and it could get screenshotted and shared publicly and make both of us look very bad depending on what's said. But
I like to think that my responses are actually more professional than the email sent to us. So this is my response. I said, Michelle, I can't believe you think I'm amazing. Thank you so much. I'll make sure to mention your comment on the podcast. P.S. I don't own a dog. However, some may think that my cat is like a dog. He would consider that a compliment. I'll make sure to tell him. Thank you for the timely message. My birthday is tomorrow and I needed a good chuckle. Have a blessed and prosperous day. Becca, the unprofessional yawner Otis. Best birthday present I've ever gotten, honestly.
It was the day before your birthday. I think it was waiting for you on your birthday, maybe.
No, it was waiting for me the day before.
I remember,
because I was like, bummer. It could have been a great birthday present. Anyway, Ryan has never gotten hate mail.
I mean, there's probably some comments that have been directed at both of us or just generally that could be applied to me also. It's not, you know.
Also, Michelle, I don't take this seriously, so good luck. And I will continue to use F-bombs. And I will continue to yawn. Because, guess what? We do our podcast at 9:30 p.m. And we don't edit it. So that's what you fucking get. I have been better about yawning, though. I think that I have a thing. I think that I have, like, I'm a, like a, what's the word? Like, I have to yawn. I think I'm a...
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's going to come back more because you're going to also be on East Coast time when we record soon. So, honestly, you've been in kind of a good situation the last few months being in Utah because it's 2 hours behind my time. So, I don't know why you're yawning at 7 p.m. at night, but, I mean...
I yawn all day. I think that I have some condition. I yawn so much. Like, it's not just during the podcast. I'm a yawner. I'm a yawner.
Do you need, like, exposure therapy to yawners and just watch videos of people yawning so that you can, like, restrain yourself and
maybe
and control it somehow?
We're thinking
You're
about
yawning
it, and
right now. Did you think I was gonna do it or something?
No, we were talking about yawning, and so I yawned.
Oh, or did you picture one of these
Yeah.
videos in your head?
I guess.
When I said that?
Maybe I just don't have enough air in my lungs, right? That's why you yawn, right? Because you don't have enough carbon dioxide? Or you're trying to expel the carbon dioxide?
I don't know. I wonder if it's also tied with that we're talking, so you're breathing through your mouth sometimes as well as your nose, and depending on the conversation. So I wonder if that messes a little bit with your patterns of breath, so they would adjust, like, make you more susceptible to yawn. I don't know.
We'll never know, but we will continue to yawn. So if you are upset about it, leave.
I mean, yeah.
There's no other thing to say.
I mean, we can, yeah. Sometimes I'll mute myself when I'm drinking and stuff like that, but...
My mute is on I feel like, sometimes...
it's just a little sensitive. I feel like you can hear it when I do it on the, like, button
clicks.
push, so I don't exactly want to push it all the time.
Also, I'm a yawner in the middle of a sentence type of person, you know?
Right.
I also just spit all over my computer on accident. Anyway, I'm outside today, so if you hear like windy noises, that's why. By the way.
How was your birthday yesterday?
Oh, it was fine. It was
fine.
I mean, I think we all know this, but I don't really like birthdays unless it's somebody else's. And
me not so much either. I'm not too huge on birthdays either.
That's why we're soul friends. And the night before, I had a massive blunder of dominoes, and that just made me so fucking mad and depressed.
How many dominoes were in there? I kind of saw the panning videos and stuff, but they were stacked, so I couldn't really tell.
There's 560 dominoes.
Shit.
And I lost about 50.
I feel like that's not terrible.
It is when it's all random.
Yeah.
And they were all porcelain, but then some of the porcelain ones exploded and then hooked onto the other ones.
That's about 9%. So 9% failure rate.
Well, my 9% failure rate was astronomical to me. So
Well, yeah. Well, did that include 50 included the ones that they stuck to and everything like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Damn.
And so, and like...
I'm guessing you made a few extra, though,
all
right?
pre-orders. I made a few extra, and I was able to grind down some to, like... Because, like, the ones that just got pieces stuck to them, I could grind them down and then just go over the dots. So those were fine. It ended up being a lot less worse than I thought it was. But, like, at the moment, when you, like, open up your fucking kiln to, like, all these dominoes that have just, like, exploded and or bloated, you're like, fuck off. You just, like,
I guess the question is, did you figure out what it was and have a good, educated guess?
I have a good educated guess. And I thought that I, like... first I thought it was, because the first time this happened, it was on frost, and I thought it was that porcelain specifically. And then I used a different porcelain that I thought was going to be fine, and it just turned out it wasn't. I think that I rushed the firing. I think that if I had held it for maybe 3 hours.
So fire it like a bisque firing, sort of?
Yeah, I think it would have been better.
Because you're going to 04, correct?
I'm going to 03, but the tumbling it puts water into it, and then because porcelain is such a low absorption rate, it sucks the water up and it won't release it. And so it's
without
harder,
like excessive heat or
it's hard to release it, so then it explodes inside of it. And so it's just like a bisque. It's just like, when you're bisquing your pieces. So yeah, that's what I should have done. I shouldn't have rushed that last firing. I didn't need to rush that last firing. Kind of a bummer. But
because did the black have any of those issues?
Nope, black didn't have a goddamn single issue wrong with them. So it's definitely the porcelain clay. Here's a lesson. If you ever have to refire any clay, make sure it's not a low absorption clay. And if you do, fire it low and fucking slow.
Yeah, so, especially when you're that far into the process and that's like the last step.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a drinking game today. You guys, if you want to get plastered, I'll try to say as many F-bombs as possible.
I'm sure you've flung quite a few in the last few days.
I just like to say that, I think that some people don't think that you cuss, which is so fucking untrue. Ryan is a very... I do, but he's got a sailor mouth. He cusses like a sailor.
I'm just very controlled with it.
He's very controlled, and he doesn't do it on the internet, whereas I do. And that's what makes us a great team. So multiple people were
I use it for emphasis when it's appropriate, and when I'm kind of passionate about something I'm talking about, I can drop it in there because I want to emphasize certain points. Yeah. But it's not a regular vernacular because it loses its pop when I do use it. So that's,
It loses its pop. Did you grow up with parents that... I know they cuss now, but did they cuss when you were little?
Not really. There were no F-bombs dropped when I was a kid. It was one of those things where, I think we might have got, soap in the mouth sort of situation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
With the cussing. I remember when I was, young, not even a teenager, probably a preteen. And, my brother's 4 years older, so we'd always mess around and, butt heads and stuff like that. And I would cuss at my grandparents' house, and my grandma would always just look at me and be like, Ryan! She wouldn't, discipline me necessarily, but she'd be, showing her dissatisfaction of it. She wouldn't just let it go, which is probably a good thing. You kind of want people to be aware of what they're saying is not appropriate to be saying. Say it in the house, I guess, but when you're in public, you don't want it to be so... you don't want to be throwing that around when you're a teen. Yeah. And then that's when other kids start saying it and stuff like that. So, yeah, my parents wouldn't cuss that much. They'd stick with the typical, the damn hell, occasionally some shit's flying around there, but they definitely would not say fuck.
See, I grew up in a house that was so clean. The only time I've ever heard my father cuss before I graduated high school, and potentially after, was when I was hiding behind his chair when I was little, and he didn't know I was there, and he said the word damn.
Mm-hmm. So you'd scare him?
No, he didn't know I was back there, and he was talking to somebody on the phone.
Oh, okay.
And I heard him say the word damn. I grew up in such a, sheltered, no cussing. My mom still flinches when I say the word hell. Mm. When I'm at their house, I won't cuss at all. If that's hard to believe, yes, it is hard to believe.
Yeah.
But I can actually hold it. I just choose not to.
I don't... Yeah, I don't see that as a bad thing necessarily to be around. I don't know. As long as it's not shamed on you, I guess, for doing it. Or I mean, I don't know. I think it just teaches self-control that you're like there's context in which you should and shouldn't. And as long as you can control yourself and you know the right context of when you should be doing it, then I think it's okay. But yeah, I mean, there's also kids in school that would like cuss like sailors, and they probably could do that all around the house because that's what they heard around their house, and that's what, you know, there's no boundaries of like when you can and can't. So, you know, that just bleeds into school settings and all the sports and all that kind of stuff that, you know, there's no off limits when you're around it so much. But I mean, these days I think probably once I got to college age, maybe late high school, college age, I would cuss in front of them more, and they wouldn't say stuff, but you know, and they cuss more these days because we're all adults now. It's not.
It is so comforting that your parents cuss. For me. No, really it is. Like, my parents don't.
Yeah.
And it's they're so like taboo about that sort of stuff. And it is so comforting for somebody that's my parents' age to cuss, for like me to hear it. So Deej, keep on being you. And
they probably ramped it up too the older they've gotten.
Yeah.
With it, I don't know if it's because of who we're around and it's just more open to do that, or if because I mean, it seems like the time I was growing up, it was very intentional for them. I don't know that they would have cussed as much as they do now back then, and they were just filtering themselves. But it seems like it kind of did its job in a sense. Like, it taught me to be more controlled with it and all of that. So I think it worked in a sense, and then I can you know, kind of choose. But but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely good to be respectful of your parents and stuff too, to not cuss at them and like you can, you know.
Oh yeah, I would never. And like, my
like
parents
that.
have
That's
such
very
a strong chokehold for the respect that I should and do give them. Like, when I was in college, I would go over to people's houses, and like the amount of yelling that happened towards a parental unit, in like my friends' houses, I was like, what the fuck? Like, if I
much less that they can say the words, but like directed at them.
Right. If I said that to my mom, I would be murdered. I'm like, no. There is like a very definite line of respect that I will and do and should give my parents. So. And
it sounds like you still do, because you still are very reserved when you're at home. So.
Oh yeah, of course. I would never. I mean, like, of course, sometimes it slips out, but I try to keep it to a minimum. I will say hell, but I won't say like damn or fuck or anything like that. So, I try not to.
Right.
Anyway, how was your week?
My week. So I've been mostly prepping for my show this weekend. I've got the Clay Alliance Spring Pottery Fair.
Yeah.
On Saturday, which is I say first show of the year. I did that show back in March, so it's not technically my first one, but it's my first like spring show to like start the actual like season of shows. So looking forward to that. I've been getting packed up and making sure I have everything ready. I don't know. I'm trying to like gauge. I talked to Jesse about the Cherokee Triangle this past weekend. I was like, how was that show? Like, how were your sales compared to last year? Because I know she did last year. Because I'm like, I don't know, from hearing from you and just the Etsy sales, I'm feeling like I need to prepare myself that there's going to be lower sales overall this year. And I'm just trying to prepare myself for it and realize that there's only so much I can control with that.
What'd she say?
And, you know, I think last year I sold about, I was looking at my stat. I think I sold about 2,300 there last year. So we'll see. Doing my best to plan for the shows coming up and try out some different ones. And what did she say? Oh, she said she did well. She did like $500 more than last year.
Okay, it could just be me.
Well, you're also in a way different area of the country, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've already discussed
But
Utah's love of rocks, so.
yeah, so we'll see. I'm just cautiously dipping my toe in this season and kind of seeing how it's gonna go. So
Yeah.
I'll going with positive vibes. Get my tiki shirt on and all that good stuff, and
Hell
we'll
yeah.
be ready to go. So
Love that. Ooh, I do want to share something that I'm really excited about.
yeah, what are you excited about?
I started making these necklaces that have little fidget bumps on them.
Oh, I couldn't tell there was bumps on that. Is it
Yeah.
yellow bumps on
Yeah.
an orange?
They're lime green.
Oh, there's bumps on both sides.
Yeah. Well, it's smooth on the back, but it's just got bump colors. But it's got little fidget stone bumps on it, and so I think I'm gonna start selling these.
That's a good idea. That was the one that you were playing around with whether you needed a chain or not, right?
Right, and somebody asked me for a custom of a fidget stone necklace because her daughter is a picker, and like she likes to pick, and so I made her one, and it's really good. Like this one's not as bumpy as that one, but it's like really fucking good. And
does the metal have to be on it? Could you sell that as a fidget stone? Or without the metal piece, and you could loop the chain through the hole?
Sure could, but I only have ones with metal. But
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I definitely well,
because I'm like a fidget stone with a hole in it could like it's multi-purpose, but you know.
Yeah, but I think it's too like small for a fidget stone. But also, I can't hang it in the kiln without the metal. So, thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
But I could cut the metal off after and sand it
But
down.
you said the back is smooth. How is it smooth? Is it not all underglaze?
No, it's stroke and coat on the back. I hung it.
Oh, but it's smooth because it's just it's not sanded.
No, it's smooth
it
because
just settled
it's glazed.
in.
It's stroke and coat. Yeah.
But the bumps are made out of what? Stroke and coat or?
The front is underglaze and then stroke and coat. The back is stroke and coat and stroke and coat.
Oh, okay.
That's
so the underglaze part is what makes it bumpy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I was confused. Wait, so all of your fidget stones, these aren't stroke and coats? These are stroke and coats, right?
Yes. The orange is stroke and coat. The orange is underglaze. The yellow is stroke and coat on this. So the bumps are stroke and coat, and the back main color is underglaze. But on the back, the main color is stroke and coat, and the dots are stroke and coat too.
Oh, okay. So it's glass and glass, so they're all the same thickness.
Yes.
Okay. I was confused.
Wow,
I was thinking the background was
underglaze.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then the other little thing, is that just another charm? Or, I won't say charm,
yeah, it's just one of the necklaces I made, those little ones. This was my tester.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving today. Huzzah!
Yeah. Where are you headed?
Colorado for 2 weeks, and then I'm headed to Indiana.
Headed east.
Yes.
That's a long trek. I was wondering how long you were going to be in Colorado. I know you were talking about getting to Indiana near the mid of the month, so...
Yeah, my dad's birthday is the 18th of May, so I'm staying for that. I'll probably leave the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, so... He deserves
Sweet.
for me to be there for his birthday.
Yeah, when's the last time you saw him for his birthday?
Probably... Oh my God. When I was in college. I think.
Really?
Maybe a couple years after all of us showed up for his birthday. I think it was his 50th, 55th? Or 60th?
And you'll
60th.
And you'll be there for Mother's Day, too.
His 60th birthday, because he's 60... I think he's turning 68. So his 60th birthday... Oh, shit. Is he turning 69? He was born in 55. Do the math.
It's 69, I would suspect. If that
69?
math works out.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, yeah, we all, like, surprised him for his 60th birthday. All of us came home.
Okay, so it's been quite a few years, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
And your mom will be happy that you're there for Mother's Day, I suspect.
Yeah, and then I got her the biggest fucking mug I've ever seen in my life. And it's, like, the lightest. I'm gonna be surprised if the bottom doesn't fall out because it's so fucking thin.
Because once you get the liquid in there, oh my gosh.
I know. It's like 32 ounces. God.
Jeez.
People ask me why I don't drink coffee, and I was like, you don't know my mom.
That's like 3 cups in one. Like, what? That's so much.
I know, it's ridiculous. Yep. Okay, do you have anything else? I'm sorry, I totally dominated that, and I apologize.
I don't think so. Nothing else is new over here. I mean, I did the soda firing this past weekend, too.
Oh, yeah, that looked great.
Yeah, this past weekend. It turned out really good. So that was the first one that I'd done pretty much all myself. And I changed a couple things with the way I loaded it, so it was more consistent from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. And the results, I just had so many good results with the flashing slip and with glazes, and it just looks really good. So I think the next time I do it, I'm going to open it up to kind of a workshop situation and have people come here for it. And if anybody wants to sign up and you're close, you can sign up you can go to my link tree in my Instagram and sign up. Mm-hmm. And I'll send out emails with, like, here's the date and here's what you can expect and all that stuff. So
yay!
It should be fun.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's it.
Maybe
feeling pretty good after coming back from Isaac's and
yeah. Maybe I could convince Eric to come down and we could, like, do a little road trip, me and Eric.
Oh, okay. I think my next one's going to be in mid-June.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to do it.
Yeah.
So
that'll be fun. But that's it. That's all that's going on.
Nice. Well, we should probably talk about what I'm most excited about to get once I get to Indiana.
Yeah. It'll be on its way soon, hopefully. We're still waiting to hear back from Dimitri, but I believe we'll be getting them soon.
Believe. What is that? What are we getting?
We're talking about the plug-in fire kiln from L&L Kilns.
Huzzah!
Did you see that Mark Ceramics went to to pick up her kiln?
Mm-hmm.
At L&L? Yeah, I got that floor model.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, so the plug-in fire, I always want to say plug-and play. But the plug-in fire, which means that it's good. The plug-in fire is a low voltage kiln. It's going to be 12 volts, 12.5 volts instead of 15. And it is
12.5 amps.
No, they said volts.
It says amps.
It said volts.
I'm looking at the website right now. It's a 120 volt plug.
God damn it. Anyway, 12.5 amps and 120 volt plug. So that means that it will potentially never trip your breaker. Which my red small kiln that rhymes with flut has tripped my parents' breaker. So it is a thing that can happen. It's, and so this is guaranteed not to ever do that. It is a Cone 10 kiln. It has a Genesis controller. It has a lid switch that when you open the lid, it turns off the kiln, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I heard a little call out about a lid switch. I was listening to For Flux Sake. They were talking about with a guy that builds electronic kilns, and he was like, yeah, if you were to open that and the kiln elements didn't shut off automatically without a switch, like, you could electrocute yourself pretty bad, and you get the whole juice of the electricity if you happen to, like, try to reach in. Let's say you're trying to do like a raku firing or something with it.
Oh, really?
And you try to, like, grab the thing out. Like, if you touch the element, you'd be getting the full voltage of touching it. So
that is absolutely
the lid
wild.
switches. Could you imagine reaching into a big kiln?
No.
With the lid the elements not turned off?
I've gotten shocked by a kiln element.
Oh my gosh.
It's not the greatest.
Yeah.
It is totally portable, which is great. It's great for apartments. It's great for garages that are small. It is, Oh my god, I just so stoked for it. I don't know. It's 9 inches tall, 8 inches wide, and 8 by 8 inches wide. Where the things on the market currently are only 4.5 inches tall. So.
Yeah. So 0.3 cubic feet, which is honestly not that much different from the other like doll test kilns they have, but the benefit of it being able to run on just a regular outlet is such a big benefit, you know.
That's amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so can't wait to get that, try it out. And yeah, all that information, everything you'd ever want to know about it, where you can order it, the price on it.
Oh, the price is like $1,600. That's the base price. I think they're gonna. I'm sure.
Yeah, the base price is listed at $1,685.
Yeah, and I'm sure Clay King will sell it for a little bit cheaper, because they always do a little discount. And worth every penny. By the way.
The base price on the other ones they have on here are $1,950. So. Some of them are cone 5 and cone 6 though, so those must be the ones that are not quite. But they have a higher amps, so.
Yep. Very exciting. Yeah. Okay, so you can find them on. I'm gonna make Ryan sing it.
Hotkilns.com.
Yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful. All right, I have one other request before we go to our topic.
Yeah.
Becca, you have a workshop coming up. This is going to come out before that workshop. It'll be last minute. If anyone wants to sign up for your workshop, do you want to talk about what it is, why they might want to sign up?
Oh, sure.
And I can plug the date and time and stuff if you want.
Okay. Are you doing a workshop soon?
I am not.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be doing my soda kiln workshops.
Okay,
so
well,
people
we
can sign up for
already.
those, but they'll need to physically be close to me to do those.
So, I am doing a stacking or nesting bowl workshop with Seapore Ceramics with Sephora, and this is going to cover not just like how to measure out the bowls to make sure they're good, but it covers how to make a nice belly in a bowl that I find to be the most difficult part. And also, you know, a lot of people usually make it where it goes straight out and then it goes up and there's no like good solid consistent curve. Thank you. Consistent curve. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about how to make a good tiny, like small spout, and then I can show you how to make a nice little handle on the back without having to make a whole
pull a handle.
It'll just be incorporated in the bowl. And like what I use for measurements for when I do my nesting, and I usually do three nesting bowls, a large one, medium as well. So yeah. So
the date on that is Wednesday, May 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m.
And it's $40, which is consistent with all the other workshops that Sephora hosts. So if you want to sign up for that, you can sign up till like 30 minutes before it starts.
I think.
Yeah. So get signed up for that. You can go to either Becca's definitely going to be advertising for it in the next week or two leading up to it. So you can definitely find her information on Instagram. We'll link to it down in the show notes.
Yeah,
so
if you're on Instagram at all and you haven't seen an advertisement for it, you don't have your eyes open. So, because I'm going to advertise the shit out of it.
Do you have like a number in mind?
Last time I got 110. 111. No.
I thought it was 115. It was one less, and Heidi got 116.
I got 115, and Heidi fucking got 116. That bitch. And yeah, so
do you think she had like her mom buy a spot or something in hers just to beat you?
No. Heidi's not like that. But I would love to get 100 again. I think that would be amazing. you know?
Yeah.
So that would be fucking great.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll set your next goal for what you want to do at the September workshop when you're throwing efficiently again. So.
Yep. Yes, sirree. All right. Let us.
All right.
Get to our topic. I can read it.
Yeah. You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it. This is from Tiffany Carper Ceramics. She's from Temecula, California. Because Ryan had a hard time.
That sounded way
saying
better
that
the way
word.
you said it.
Well, my grandparents used to live right next to there. Anyway, it says, I'm struggling to see how I can make a living at selling my pottery with the high cost of clay, glazes, electricity, and cost of events. What are typically the cost of events / festivals / fairs to sell your pottery? What types of events are best selling events? Fairs, craft fair, street fair, or festival? What are your sales goals for these events? When do you know if you're good enough to try a juried event? Are there specific juried events you recommend, i.e. ZAP, or just local juried events? Do you do any commission work? As an example, I had a potential customer ask me to make a set of plates in a very specific color of blue, and that's where it stops. So, lots of questions in there.
That's a lot.
Love it.
Lots of questions. This should apply to a lot of different folks that are thinking about shows and.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and keep it.
Costs of doing business.
We're gonna try and keep this one short-ish. We want to be done by 6, and it's 5:15. So that's our goal.
Yeah.
Cool. So.
All right. So struggling to see how they can make a living because of the high cost of clay, glazes, electricity, cost of events. Okay.
I'm gonna interview Ryan. So Ryan, what are the typical costs of your events? Do you think? Would you say? Like, what do you look for?
So, yeah, I would say if I'm early in events, I'm looking for nothing to be over $100 a day.
I like that when it's like a day. Like you can spend $200 on an event, but that's 2 days.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. My very first show I ever did was I think $200 for a 2-day show, and I got to set up the day before the weekend started. So, I mean, a lot of mine nowadays are, I'm still doing some shows that are $50 to $75 for the day, and it's a 1-day thing. I've been doing the show for a few years. It's usually like a monthly event, so there's some regularity to the customer base that comes to those, especially if they've been doing it for a few years. One of the examples is like Westside Market is a good example of that. It's not a fine art show. It's not. It's like a neighborhood craft. I don't want to say craft show, but
right.
It's like a neighborhood show. Yeah, and that one's probably, I think that's about $75 for the day. So very well organized. It's got food options. It's got music. It's got things for kids. It's got some artisans, but it's also got some more reasonably priced things that are good for home decor or gifts or apparel or whatever. So I found some success in those types of shows for me. And I think those are also low entry points, low commitment, very approachable from someone who hasn't sold in a lot of events before.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make back your booth fee fairly easily, I think, with that price point, $50, $75. So that's where I would recommend, and those don't really fall into the festival category necessarily. I feel like festival, there's a lot of other activities and things going on that are typically the focus.
Yeah.
And the vendors and sellers are kind of secondary or third to that. People go for the music, for instance, and then they go for the food second, and then they go for the vendors third.
Right.
Like, there's some reason that they're primarily there, and walking around with purchases is not typically a priority for the attendees for that.
What would be like a price that if you saw it, you'd be like, abso-fucking-lutely not?
For a 1 day or a 2 day?
Let's do 1 day and then 2 day.
1 day. $200 for a day is too much for me.
Okay. That's fair.
Unless it's something that I've heard good reputation about it. Like if it's been around, For me, it's a lot of, has this show been around? Are there people that I know have done it? Are there people that I know that have done it consistently, like keep doing it? Or did they do it once and then they dipped out?
Mm-hmm.
Do I know them well enough that I can ask them, hey, how did you do at the show? And a lot of times you can find that out just by who you follow. And are there people in your circles that you follow that you saw that they did that show? Because, you know, we should all be advertising for the shows we're going to do so people know where to find us. So, yeah, 200 for a day is pretty excessive. If it's on like 150 a day, that's kind of teetering. You know, I think City Flea's the one that's out in front of Music Hall in downtown Cincinnati. I think that's about 150 a day.
Yeah.
But it's also a very popular show. They've been doing it for, 10 years or so. There's a lot of vendors. There's a lot of buzz around this show every month. They do a great job of social media advertising. They make it a whole event. And it's also in a beautiful location. There's a lot of stuff going on in that part of town. So,
yeah.
That kind of thing, I would consider it. I would, it might, some of those, besides the risk of doing something that you've never sold at before at $150 for the day, if you can't afford to risk it, as well as you're not really sure what kind of customers are going to be there, what they're going to want from you.
Yeah.
How to prioritize what you need to have on display. Like, those kind of things, you need the reps to figure that stuff out. If you can't attend the show beforehand, I would recommend attending it. Even if it's attending in 2023 to sell on the show in 2024, I would recommend that.
Yeah. Okay, my next question is, let's say you signed up for a show that was $100 a day. That was 2 days, okay?
We didn't say the 2-day option, but that would scare me off. But I would say 2 day, maybe 400. I feel like is kind of teetering on.
Okay, well,
450,
that matches
something like that.
Yeah, that matches your answer anyway. Okay, let's say you've signed up for a show that's $200 for 2 days. What number are you happy getting? Like, what sales number are you happy getting? And then I'm going to ask...
$200 for 2 days.
And then I'm going to ask what sales number you'd be fucking pissed about, okay? So think about those.
Okay. Assuming I'd never done the show before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. $200, 2 days. If it's local, I would be if I got to sleep in my own bed, I got to do it.
Oh, that's good.
Do all
that's
that.
Good clarification.
I would be happy with $700.
Okay. Wait, 2 days?
If it was
$700 for 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like bare minimum. I think.
Bare minimum.
I mean, my that's kind of teetering. That's like happy with 700. No, I mean, I'm not happy, but I'm not going to be mad if I make at least 700.
Okay.
For the first time doing it.
Okay.
And that's not very much, obviously, with profit wise, but okay, so that, and then if I were out of town, I feel like that number would probably need to be at least 1,000.
Okay. And what's your I'm never coming back here number?
Not zero. $200. Let's see.
Like the top of your I'm never coming back here number.
Yeah. The top would probably be $500.
500. Okay. So you have a dead zone between 500 and 600 essentially. Or 500 and 700.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if it's out of town and 2 days, $200, I'd probably say closer to, kind of the $700 mark would probably be kind of where I would be. And a lot of that is like, I'm willing to pay money. Like, I'm essentially paying extra money for the experience of trying this out. And I know that that's part of my investment, where you would say, oh, well, you only made $500 profit. That's nothing. But I think in that situation, you can't take it so black and white that you're you need to make an hour. You need to judge it on an hourly wage of how many hours you put into to be at the show physically, and how many pieces you. I think you just need to use it as a trial to say, do I feel good about the day that I had? Do I feel like I understand better the experience that like I can expect if I were to come back? And do I think I could change some things around to hopefully improve my results the next time?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way. I think you're also trading. You're not leaving sales on the table, but you're trading that like uncertainty for sales that you're not getting. Essentially, like that's kind of the way that I value my time there, and where some of those numbers kind of come in. Where I'm like, I'll be happy enough with 700, but you know, one sale could be the difference from 700 to 500.
Yep.
But a lot of it has to do with how satisfied am I with the experience of the show too, besides just the sales number. So,
Okay.
you know, if I had an amazing load in, load out, everybody was nice, the planning was great, and I made 500, I might still be willing to come back to that show, even though I didn't hit my 700 number, you know?
Okay. Next question. Take that same question and tell me when you were just beginning. Like when you had just started, what were the shows that got the next year? Because I know you were a little bit more lenient back then. So, because I think that it's important to note that like Ryan's in his 7th year of doing shows.
Yeah.
Like consistently. So I want to know what like in year 1 what you were okay with and what got you to the next year, because he's telling you these answers according to his long-term plan, and and this is like this is after 7 years, so I want to know kind of like what
you kind of know gut what I was feeling in those years, and kind of like
when
what
you
got
didn't
me to
do as well.
bring.
Like when you didn't do as well, what like what's a show that you consistently have done well in, and you've done better every year? Probably Berea.
Berea, yeah. There's not a big sample size of Berea, probably 3 years, but
Okay, what's your longest show?
Woodland's a good example. Okay. Woodland I've done 4 times.
Okay, what did you do the first time? Do you remember? About? It doesn't have to be perfect, but
I can look this up. Do you want the actual numbers?
Sure.
Ooh, okay. So, yeah, there's definitely some shows that have carried year to year, and a lot of it goes based on gut of how did I feel about it. Like I said, the hard number of sales is not the only factor, the main factor. It's just one number. Show analytics. And then I could talk about other ones that I stopped doing too if you wanted. I actually used to. Okay, so this might be good as well. So back when I started, I actually kept a spreadsheet of just of analytics from every single show that I sold at. I would keep track of the show name, the number of days it was, how many pieces I sold, the total sales collected, what percentage was cash versus card, how many transactions I did, what percentage of those transactions were from cash versus card, the average purchase from cash, the average card purchase, average cost per piece. Like, I would keep a bunch of numbers early on.
Okay.
Just to give me a sense of, like, that was kind of giving me a sense of how many pieces do I actually need for these shows, as well as, like, how many pieces did I sell to net that amount of money. Okay, let me 2018. Okay, so you wanted to know Woodland. Okay, the first year of Woodland, I sold $3,000.75. Sorry, $3,075.
And how many days is it?
2 days.
That's ridiculous. I hate you. I'm just saying what everybody's feeling right now. Okay.
Because that's excessive for my very first year. Is that what you mean?
That's pretty high.
What do you mean?
I feel like. How much did you sell it this year? Was it 6,000?
7,000.
Sweet Jeebus. I could
hold on.
I could literally fund
Hold on.
3 months of my life with one of your Woodland shows, and I hate that. Okay, continue.
Hold on. I was trying to look. 2020 is not going to be on there. That's not going to be. There's not going to be analytics for 2020. I'm trying to think. 2021. Did we even have it in 2021?
Oh, probably not.
2021 Woodland. We did not. All right, gotta go to 2022. Did I say the second year? I don't. The second year I see. Oh, that was the first year, 2019. Yeah. Sorry for those listening that are trying to hopefully get to these answers quicker, but I'm actively.
I can tell you what my first shows were. They were like $300 on like a $100, and I thought I was doing pretty good. And then I remember I did this really big festival in downtown in Seattle, and I did like $700, and I felt like I was the shit.
Woodland. I don't even see it in here. Where was it? Oh, it's because it's in October, or it's in August. Okay. So let's see. What is okay? It might be in 2021 too. Okay, there it is in 2021. All right, 2021. So the first year I did it was 2019. Sorry, I was making sure I didn't do it in 2020. Okay, 2019, $3,075. 2021, I'll have to add these two up because I list out the 3596 plus 1443, $5,039. So from like 3,100 to 5,000.
If I made $5,000 at a show, I would shit my pants.
That was also 2021. I think was also a little bit of an outlier because people were willing to buy stuff in the fall of 2021.
Sure, tell yourself that.
Okay, so no, it was seriously okay, and then 2022. 5,152. So just barely better.
Yeah.
2022.
So for all of you normal people out there, just divide that into 2, and that's about what you'd probably make. So I'm not telling you to shoot for the not to shoot for the stars. I'm just trying to be realistic here because Ryan's a goddamn unicorn, and nobody knows how he does it.
But do you want me to share like a show that I stopped doing?
Yeah. Oh, but first we should talk about underglazes.
Because this is about the time that I started doing sgraffito work.
Yeah.
And I got more sales from
Who do you use for your sgraffito work, Ryan?
Speedball underglazes. Oh my gosh, what a transition. Not a transition at all. You should have like did some kind of a song and dance for this.
I'm still working on the speedball dance. I'm still working. We need like a little jingle for speedball, but I have to figure it on this drive. Anyway,
you got plenty of driving to figure this out.
I sure do. So Speedball, our friends over at Speedball Ceramics, they have, well, as we know, they came out with their awesome mid-fire glazes this last year, and they also started reformulating their underglaze recipe, and that underglaze recipe is phenomenal now. I've been using it for all of my new jewelry. It is great. Amethyst is not shiny. The Lord says thank you. And
nice.
And what I love about Speedball probably the most is that if there is something wrong, if something that they do, like a product that they have, and you're like, bro, something's a little bit off with this, they listen to you, they talk to you, they tell their chemist about you, who has 8 children, by the way. Their chemist has 8 children, which I thought was a joke at first.
He wasn't lying to you, I don't think.
I thought it was a joke. No, he legitimately has 8 children. Anyway, yeah, so, and the color retention is just phenomenal. I mean, you've used more of the colors than I have. What's your favorite color of underglaze?
I really love the sea blue the most, but I'm also pretty prone to pretty happy about the teal. I really love the teal.
The teal. I really love the sea blue. I think it's such a beautiful color. I also like the saffron
teal and
yellow.
sea blue aren't too far off from one another, but
yeah,
teal's got a little more green in it. But yeah, I love both of those a lot.
What's really cool about Speedball 2 is that they work really hard at making the colors of the underglazes after they're fired be super similar to their labels. Like, they print out their labels and they test it against the color. And that is just really nice. You know, it's very true to that color. And so, you know, typically you'd only be able to look at it on like a color swatch, but with them you can just see the poster that they have, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, they also have pretty great bats, the square bats. I've been hearing a lot about the square bats. You use the square bats.
Yep, they're awesome. I use them exclusively for all my production. I mean, like bowls and spoon rest definitely, and yeah, I can just crank through. And they're not like, you know, they're not warping as long as you're not blasting them with a heat gun and stuff. They're good.
They are plastic. And I hear they're going to have a new colors coming out. One of them might be pink. Actually, confirmed.
I think
pink.
they got 3 new colors coming out, so it'll be coming out very soon. There will be a big announcement.
Yeah.
Coming up in a couple months-ish.
Yep, they showed them in Sika, so they have purple, yellow, and pink. And the pink one might be related to something to us.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
So anyway, Speedball is sold at Blick and Clay King and a lot of your regular big, suppliers. Blick is actually a pretty big supplier of theirs, so and they have coupons, guys. So go check them out, and you can get the little 2-ounce bottles of the new formula to see how it works for you. I was a super big fan, and I think you'll love the colors. Yeah, you have anything else to say?
Nope. Speedballart.com.
Speedball art. Speedball art. Speedballart.com.
I like that.
Okay.
It's got
Speedball
got some
Speedball art. Speedballart.com. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna finesse it.
Yeah. I mean, it might just need to be the name Speedball. Or Speedball Ceramics, it doesn't have to be.
We'll figure it out.
Doesn't have to be the website, but,
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, I've been hunting around. So I've got... Okay, here's a show that it was actually my very first show that I ever did.
Ready.
So, let's see. See, the thing is, I feel like I sold this at another year, but I don't see it on my list, so maybe I didn't sell at a 4th time. But that very first show that I talked about, the $200 booth for 2 days, I sold $471.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first one. And then I returned the next year, 2017, I sold $1,000.
Okay.
So I doubled my sales from the previous year. And then 2018, I sold $809.
Nice.
So it really dropped off. And I think I don't remember exactly if this was the year, but I think it's close to when they actually moved it from their original location somewhere else because they were doing some construction on that area. And that show just hasn't been the same since they moved it. So that's kind of a situation where you've got to also be aware that some things like that could adjust whether it's worth sticking with the show or not.
Yeah. Okay. So. I still want to talk about shows, but there's a few more questions in here, and I don't want to skip them. So, when do you think you're good enough for a juried event to try a juried event? I have an answer for this one, but
okay, what's your answer?
Just try, just do it, and if you get in, you're
yeah.
Good
I mean,
enough.
what's the risk you run? You run rejection and a loss of I don't know $25 to $35 maybe.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I have another question. But yeah, so I think that's a pretty quick one. Like, just try, but also maybe like Google some stuff to like figure out. Make sure you're doing the gradient background or something that looks nice. Make sure it's just not a white background. That is not the best. I think that Deanna talked about that on her podcast. I don't know what episode it was.
Yeah, one of the episodes we recorded with Deanna.
She's a whiz at shows too. And
yeah, she's applied to a lot of shows,
and she tries to get into the higher end ones. So that
was from episode 208, Optimizing Your Show Applications with Deanna Polsma.
What
from Glazed and Confused Creations
is the most application fee? Like, what application fee are you like, fuck you, I'm not doing that?
I don't think there's anything that's been out of bounds. I mean, I think I spent $40 on an application fee, but nothing really above that. I think most of them fall. In most of them, you're going to see the application fee if you're on Zapplication. A lot of these ones that are not on Zapplication are typically not going to be higher than like $35, I don't think. Because like if they're on their own platform and all that, I suspect a lot of that is because they're paying Zapplication for a lot of the reasons for them to be on there.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. Besides just like that's the standard. So if people expect it, then they charge what's expected, and they can, I want to say take advantage, but I don't really know what those application fees go to. I would guess it goes to a jury that they're paying to be there to sift through lots of applicants, and it's a very involved process when you're talking about hundreds of applicants. So
yeah. I would like to add to that.
Yeah, has there been an app fee that you're like, what the fuck?
I hate the $50 ones, but also I have to pay 2 application fees, and I want to talk about that a little bit too. So if you have jewelry, a lot of the times if you're applying for a show, they'll say that you can only apply in one category per application fee, and a lot of the times that's what like Zapplication makes them say. I will 155% email them and say, hey, I do ceramic jewelry. I'm wondering if I have to pay the second application fee or if you're good with both of them in the same. If it's very clearly stated, I will pay it, but I try to get around it if I can. There's nothing that says you can't email them first,
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I hate paying the application fees. I think that's so dumb. And also, I think that I would try to like look it up too. If you think that they might have their own website, look it up, because sometimes they don't have an application fee on their own website, or they do it through Zapplication as a secondary option. There's like one show that I applied to, and she does it through her own website too. And if you do it through her own website, you can apply to like 5 shows for $50, or on Zapplication it's like $35 each time. So.
Okay.
When do you
know
that you're like?
Do
you think Zapplication is like the best way to go for looking for shows.
If you're talking juried shows, I think that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
Just because it's all in one place. It's got a pretty good filtering setup, so like, you know, you could filter by the city, state, or maybe not city, but you can filter by the state, you know, region, whatever. You know, those are going to be shows that are going to have a lot of applicants, but honestly, with your location, I think it's best to find, if you're early on in shows and you're just sampling, I say go with find your local shows.
Yeah.
You know, I think I mentioned this before, like look at people that are selling, that are kind of at your level or a little bit above your level and have been selling for a year or two, and look at what shows they're doing. You know, make note of some of those, research them. You could go to Facebook events and look up upcoming events like on the calendar and see what art related ones there are. You can,
and also I want to say that sometimes juried shows basically just like they'll accept almost anybody. It just means that they're trying not to accept like MLMs or, you know, like the people that I don't actually make their own stuff. So
yeah, I mean the one I mentioned, the West Side Market, like that's still jury.
Yeah.
But I don't pay a jury fee to apply. Sorry, I don't pay an application fee to do it because they're not. It's more of a craft show. They have a team that leads the market, and those are the ones that select who's in the market. It's not, and those applications are more. Tell me a little bit about your business. Do you have a website? Do you have a social media? And they kind of do a little bit of research that way and see if you kind of fit in their market and fit the gaps of where they have openings for people that aren't returning, as well as, you know, it's a monthly thing. So are there spots that they have open related to pottery that is not already full this month? So you're likely to fill in that spot. Or, you know, there's other ones that are a little more formal and they actually hire a juror and they're an art show and they have, you know, prizes and ribbons and stuff like that. You know, some of the ones I do don't have that, and it's fine because I don't care about the ribbon as much as I care about the sales. I would much rather have a better sales day than get a ribbon.
For sure. For shizzle. And
the funny thing is, I've only ever got 2 ribbons in my life at shows. The very first show I ever did, the one I sold $471 at, I got 3rd place in clay or whatever. And what was the other one? Art in the Park. The one I did it like 3 years ago, and I'd done that show for 4 times before that. And I think I got an honorable mention in Fine Craft or something. So, you know, I do get kind of bummed because when I've set my expectations of, okay, like looking at the other ceramic artists, like I should definitely get something here. My stuff's great. But I much rather think it's more worth my energy to focus on the sales side of it, in my opinion, because I have much more control of that. I can actually talk to people and influence people to buy based on how I talk about my work and how sociable I am. So yeah, those are the shows.
Yes. Let's talk about the commission work really quick because we have like 10 minutes. And do you do commission work?
I do some. Actually, I've done more this year than I have historically, but I don't get a ton of people asking, but when I do, I have to. I think it's just a matter of being in front of a lot more customers. A lot of the commissions I've got are from current customers or past customers. So right now I'm working on a commission of 8 place setting dinnerware set. So it's a small plate, big plate, bowl, tumbler, and a mug.
Wow.
So 5 pieces, 8, so 40 pieces total. And I just kind of work with her with that. She actually purchased at the Lexington show, the Woodland Art Fair, the one that I was talking about that I did really great at. And I sold $7,200 there last year. And she bought $200 worth of stuff at the show, and she got my card and like we talked a little bit through email, and she started reaching out to me I think 6 months ago, like shortly after the show about this dinnerware set. And then we kind of picked it up a little bit after the new year, and we committed to it. She put a deposit down, and that's the kind of the way I go about it nowadays. So if somebody wants a commission, I kind of go through the details of what's involved. If it's as simple as, hey, I want this thing with a little bit different of a glaze application, or something like that, or a carved piece that has these colors, then I typically detail all that out, put it on an invoice, and collect a deposit. It depends on what it is, how much it's worth, but let's say the total cost of the thing is going to be $120. I might collect a deposit of $50, and that's going to go toward the final cost. If it's just a piece that's going to be $40 in the end, I might collect a deposit of $15 or $20. It just depends on the person and the order, but those are kind of the commissions I take on these days. It's, if it's a dinnerware set and they're willing to pay it, that order is going to be, I don't know, $1,500 or something. I can't remember what the total is going to be, but it's going to be a big chunk of change. And some of them are super easy. Like, one of them I just finished up and shipped out about 2 or 3 weeks ago was a planter order. So this customer has been purchasing from me on Etsy over the last couple years, and they've got a whole bunch of my small planters, the 4-inch planters that have a hole in the bottom, and mostly they're mixery boxes. And she was like, I want a set of 20 planters, and these are kind of the colors I want. So I kind of got to be a little more selective and have some flexibility with what colors I could give her. And that was so easy, right? I just take what I have and just glaze them. Yeah. That's cake.
This one is her example of having a potential customer ask her to make a set of plates that's a very specific color of blue. I think that if that blue is reachable, that's fine. But if it's not something you can do, don't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't custom. If I didn't already have the color, I would not go out of my way to make a color for them, because it's probably not going to match the color that they want, and they probably just want plates that are blue. And somebody else can probably make plates that are blue that has the blue that they want.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm not as crazy about commissions where they're not seeking you out
because of your style, for
your expertise and your skill set, your style. They're seeking you out because they know that you're a potter that can make this thing.
Yeah.
You're kind of a means to an end in that. If I'm not feeling good about it and I don't feel like I can add my own style to it, and they want that, they just want to be very specific about the details of the order, then I'm like, this is not for me. I'll leave that on the table for somebody else.
I think if they wanted
I've pointed them elsewhere to different people too. If it's a form oh, do you make hand warmer mugs? Right. The ones that have the pinch sides and it's got the little kind of pocket on it.
Yeah. Fuck those. But
I'm no, and I'll be I've seen John the Potter make them. Go to his Etsy. He makes them. He might make one for you, So I don't feel bad about directing people elsewhere when I know other people that do it.
I think if you could find the commercial glaze for that's the right color of blue, maybe. But if it's really out of your realm, don't fucking do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. I would want. Also, you definitely already have to feel good about plates too. I saw she made some plates, but she makes, I think, slab built, hand built plates. So I don't know how that translates to set of plates, as in if they're dinnerware plates, that might be a little more involved.
Yeah.
Hand building those, I don't know. Yeah.
For sure. Do you have anything to say as we close our episode?
I had one other thing that's show related that might help people kind of get a sense of what to expect, and I can kind of talk through. So this is a list of my shows that I did the second year that I sold, which was about 10 shows or something like that. I feel like that's a good number, and it had a good range of different show types that I did, and I can talk about the type of show it was and how much I sold at it if that's helpful.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one was a Queen City Clay spring sale. So this was like from the Pottery Studio, the sale that they did. You pay just for, the table and you get 80%. I sold $236 there. That was like a $25 table. So one day. The second one, Arts on the Green 2-day show, 1,000. We already kind of mentioned that. That's a 2-day, $200-ish show out of town, but it was in Louisville, so it was kind of where my parents live and stuff like that. Art around town. This was like a Friday night, 3-hour, kind of like a neighborhood, kind of like get together on a Friday night sort of situation, but they happened to have art. So that was a $340 show. That was probably like a $25 table, maybe a $30 table. Kind of one of those neighborhood events. The next one is Art in the Park. This was a juried show. I actually still do this one these days, or have done it still recently. Juried, single day, 6 hours, something like that. They got the fine art, fine craft, all that. $1,000. It was pretty good for one day compared to my other one that I did 1,000 for 2 days. Also very close to me, so that's great. Next one was a farmer's market in a close by neighborhood. You can expect that 4 hours, something like that. $186. So nothing groundbreaking. Farmer's market. Not a bad farmer's market day for 3-4 hours, something like that. The next one, this was actually it was called the Yart, which is I can't remember why they call it Yart, but it was at the library. So it was a library sale where everything at the show was $30 or less. This was 2017, so I had quite a bit of work that was this cheap. And I sold about $152 worth of stuff. So that was that event. I don't even think that cost me anything to do it. I think they might have requested a donation of $10 to the library. Next one was the Bellevue Fall Festival, which is another one kind of like the neighborhood one that I talked about. It was this is a neighborhood fall event on a Friday night. They got food. The local businesses are open on that main strip. That was $335. So pretty reasonable, easy night, whatever. The next one was a juried event that was hosted by the same folks that did Arts on the Green. So it's the same area. There's some crossover in customers, but it's like the fall/winter event that they do that's indoors. 2-day, probably around $200 to do it. And this was $477, so not amazing. It was one of those indoor, but it was like black curtain situation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what influences a little bit of my black curtain experience with shows. That probably not the best show to gauge it off of, but that's part of how I kind of formulate that feeling of that. Okay, the next one. This is a holiday show at Queen City Clay, so this is very similar to the spring show, but it is a 2-day version, and it's indoors, same situation, $252. So that's the 80-20 split, paid $25 for a table. So, okay. And then this one was kind of like an art walk at one of the local art studios that has a bunch of, the Essex Studios, which is the Clay Alliance had a booth inside of a gallery inside of that building. So it's one of those, like, 3 times a year they have art walks at this building. And there's a lot of different artists in here. I sold $76 at that pop-up. I think it was like a 2-month, 2 different events that year. So I was in the gallery with a bunch of different Clay Alliance people, so I might have had 15 pieces there or something like that. And then the last one of the year was the Clay Alliance Holiday Fair. That's the one that's with the Clay Guild that I'm a part of. It's $70 for the table, something like that. Single day. It's one of our 2 big events that we do every year, and This is my first Clay Alliance event, so that was $458. So, I feel like on the whole year, not too bad. It was a bunch of different. You could see there's a lot of different types of shows, and yeah, a lot of different things going on. So if I were counting all that stuff up for shows, if this number's right, I think it's about $4,500 that I sold at shows that year. If you add all that up, so that is. You think about it these days, like I could sell that much in one show, but I'm going through I'm putting the reps in to go to the different shows. I'm still figuring out my work. My price is probably pretty low, so it takes a lot more work and effort to get those bigger numbers because my prices are not as nice as they are today. But I'm also figuring it out. So yeah, that's kind of where I was looking at for that year. And that actually that was like 75% of my sales for the whole year.
Yeah.
Was from the $4,500. Like I made a little over $6,000 that year, my second year of selling.
Yeah. So all of you out there that think you need to make $35,000 first year, good luck.
And I'd already been making pots for like quite a bit before I even had that like show set up or set of shows. So it's
it's not impossible, obviously, and a lot of people do it, but it's not unrealistic to start slow.
Yeah, and I think some of the numbers these days that people put out there is that you ideally want to make 10 times whatever you pay for your booth. That's kind of a number that gets thrown out. So if you pay $100 for your booth, you want to make $1,000.
Yeah.
That's kind of the number, but it can vary depending on the person. But I think a lot of it is just trial and error, and do your takeaways. Like I think early on I wrote a lot of notes, so I was like I talked about the show analytics, I put a lot of the data around the shows to give me that kind of facet of it, but I also wrote some notes about like what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, the information about the setup and all those kind of things that also make it worth it or not worth it to do the show. So, I think all of those variables matter when you're early on in your selling.
For sure.
And, I think we all kind of have to go through that to figure out what works and what's the right place to sell your stuff. So.
Yep.
All right. We're 2 minutes over, but I feel like pretty good.
That was pretty good. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Wheel Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.